Skrill boys, TGG and vids. Oh yeah.
Anyways, welcome back to Scrubboys TGDM Vids, and as the title card implies, yes, we are talking about the Disney Smash Brothers clone. Now, if you are not in the know, Smash Brothers, well, what I'm trying to say is that if you're not in the know on what Smash Bros is, in 1999, Nintendo and game director Masahiro Sakurai created Super Smash Bros., a platform fighting game which featured 12 playable characters across Nintendo's popular games of the time. And well, from that from that day hence in January of 1999, Smash Brothers has grown into the massive media franchise that it is today. In 2001, on the GameCube, it had a sequel named Melee. The third one was called Brawl, and it introduced third-party characters. And now Super Smash Bros. became a celebration of gaming. Smash 4 amped up the spiciness, but amped it up too much for my liking and for many others. Then Super Smash Bros. Ultimate supposedly perfected the formula, even though there was still some bugs, and with its DLC, is pretty much the definitive fighting game experience and is now the best-selling fighting game in history. But of course, this doesn't mean that others have tried to replicate its success. Brawlhalla was one such, and it is actually still holding up strong today. In fact, it's the most unique Smash Bros. Clone in that instead of using 3D assets, it uses 2D assets, basically giving a authentic feel and also, you know, uh, um, a two-dimensional feel. I mean, like, I don't know. You also have Rivals of Aether, which is big enough to get a sequel, which will be now in 3D. But the first one was made in 2D, where you could put any character you liked and implement their own moveset. Cannot wait to see that's like in 3D. Those two are by far the most successful. However, then there are the less successful ones. During Ultimate's farewell tour, Nickelodeon seized the opportunity to try and bury Smash in its grave. Sadly, this failed in a inglorious fashion, as Nickelodeon All Star Brawl proceeded to get hype. Then, with a lack of voice acting and practically not enough budget to secure enough character rights, only to get 3 DLC later, it fizzled out in a snap. Multiverses was the next Smash Bros. Clone, and it more emphasized on team play. This was also the one such of the infamous Smash curse, where basically, let's just say it fades into obscurity. But the game's producer Tony Hugh has promised that there'll be more characters in season 2, and season 3 will definitely pick up the slack that season 2, kind of left behind. And then that brings us to today, where HungryBox, linked to his video in the description on this topic, by the way, discovered from a Redditor that from a unanimous Redditor who I will not name, that Disney was throwing their hat in the ring. And this could possibly be the only IP based fighting game that's not Smash Bros. That could succeed because Disney is the practically the only company that's this close, like this close to controlling the world at this point. Jeez Louise, it scares me. But of course, sorry. Disney is known for bringing joy and happiness. And why not in a fighting game? Of all things to do. So, of course, I am here to talk about what HungryBox has talked about, but go further and predict some of the roster. However, I must I must issue you that if any of this information is true, Disney will take down this video. So I'm saying this now. Please take everything I say here with a grain of salt. This is only predictions and just predictions. None of the leaks could be valid. It could just be a fan game. I don't know if it was real, but sorry. But this could be legitimate. So please take everything I say here with a grain of salt. But anyways, let's get on with it. So first off are the leaked fighters. But you may be wondering, what's the name of the game? Well, the name of the game is Disney Domination, and actually that's a good name for a Smash Bros. Clone. Of course, multiverses and well, Nickelodeon All Star Brawl are good names too, and multiverses does open yourself up to more franchises. Disney Domination it's a good name to set yourself apart from Smash Brothers, but of course, with a name like Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl, people are obviously going to compare it to the grandfather of platform fighting games. Of course, a title that doesn't sound like Smash Bros. Of course can separate you more. But we so far have 8 characters leaked for a supposed story mode. And well, it's gonna be no surprise to well, which characters are leaked. However, there were images that came with it. However, I will not be showing these images, as of course this video will be taken down if I do. So buckle up, as I'm about to read them off my phone, but I won't show you them. But first, a little nose scratch. Okay. So first up, we got, of course, the big cheese himself, Mickey Mouse. Of course, literally, this is the most obvious out of all of them, right? Because, like, you can't have a Disney game without Mickey, or at least a mention of him. He is seen up against a bubbling volcano, I can only assume, but he is, well, all alone, and in another photo that looks exactly like this, there's some text about of someone saying, "We have to stop him now." Um, uh, I'll leave that ambiguous for now. Donald Duck and Goofy are also in this game, but what is really interesting and something to take note is that they are using their Kingdom Hearts designs, which is very weird, and could imply maybe a certain someone could be coming very soon. And also, apparently, there is another image that I missed. Mickey will indeed be using his Kingdom Hearts moveset, as evidenced by a picture where you can see his Keyblade silhouette. Yet again, I cannot show it because I don't want this video to be taken down. But, as I alluded to earlier, someone was talking to Mickey, and he's only mentioned in dialogue, but this confirms his appearance. It is none other than Sheriff Woody from the Toy Story franchise. Of course, Woody next to Mickey as being the icon face of Pixar. Obviously, this confirms that Pixar characters will play a major part. Woody also has another piece of dialogue in front of what I can only assume is a yin and yang looking symbol. But continuing with Toy Story, we have Buzz Lightyear, but it says Emperor Lightyear. So maybe in this story mode, that some of the fighters are corrupt and we must fight them, and they take on bizarre, jacked up forms. However, this is not just a fighting game for the animated stuff, as the live action stuff is also here. In a screenshot, in another screenshot, we see Spider-Man. Now, it's unclear if this is going to be the MCU Tom Holland incarnation or just an amalgamation of them all. Yet again, these images are sketchy, so I won't be, I won't, I won't be the judge of that. But he also speaks to someone that is also on here. In this same photo, we see Thanos the Mad Titan in probably the most terrifying looking form that he's possibly been in. But in also that same piece of dialogue that I mentioned earlier, Spider-Man says, "Stewie, get down," and the rest and the person he's replying to, dialogue is cut off. But this does somewhat confirm the addition, whether you like it or not. Stewie Griffin from Family Guy. Yes, Disney owns Fox, and I don't know why they're including an R-rated character in a possibly gonna be E for everyone 10 and up game. But maybe he's a part of like a collection, maybe the equivalent of Ultimate Spirits. Who knows? But I really hope he gets killed. Can you see I don't really like Family Guy? But in most of these images, it's just the simple stuff. Although there is another character named Flame Face, but to my knowledge, he's probably going to be an OC, original character, possibly the villain of the game. I don't know. There's also a castle stage that is in ink, possibly a reference to Epic Mickey. Also, there's another character in here, but I can't quite see who it is. It does resemble someone familiar, but I'm not sure who. Yet again, more information could come out soon. But for now, this is all we have character-wise. And also there is a image of Donald with a CPU icon over him. Of course, this all but confirms that this is indeed a Disney fighting game. But the fact that we're even getting such a thing, I don't know what this could mean for the future of Disney video games, but but I don't know if this is valid or not, which means please take this with a grain of salt, and please don't take this video down, Disney. Alrighty, next up, surprise when you predict these. We have my predictions for who could show up on the roster. Of course, Disney has a plethora of IP, and of course, I chose the most safe options. Disney and Pixar, I muffed into one. Marvel, Star Wars, and the other stuff that Disney owns. This is like Disney Television and 20th Century Fox. Also, third parties. Now, this is like a what if scenario if if Disney wants to be ambitious and like Smash Bros, they can possibly call other third party companies and ask to use their character in the game. But I'm not going to bet my life on it. I mean, this just seems like overkill in my opinion. But first up, the Disney and Pixar characters. I put them in columns. It's a 6x3 category accounting for 18 characters. Well, technically 19 for a duo that I'll get to later. Now, of course, I only chose 18 because and this is probably the biggest number we're going to get because, well, obviously this is Disney's fighting game, but I did make it fair and split Disney and Pixar into 9 fighters per company. So for the Disney side, we have Simba, Stitch, Maui, Moana, Timon and Pumbaa, Figment, Maleficent, Scar, and Ursula. Now, of course, Simba, Stitch, Simba and Stitch are pretty much givens because they're obviously from The Lion King, and the villains are understandable because they are ever so popular and could play vital roles in the story. I only chose three, only chose so little villains because we could have them in boss fights. Now, Figment is a questionable considering that he's from the theme parks, and I don't really know if they really want to include a character from the theme parks in this, but they are going to make a movie about him. So, possibly? Now, I could see Maui and Moana working as a duo, but I just saw them as two different characters. Of course, Maui, with his demigod powers, can shapeshift into anything he wants, and Moana is pretty much skilled in combat with an oar and also possibly could have demigod powers. Demigoddess Moana? I don't know. Simba, of course, is a lion, so obviously he could have obviously typical slashes and claw swipes. Stitch, of course, is an alien and can grow a set of extra arms and manhandle opponents. Timon and Pumbaa can be a duo and double team any opponent they face. Figment could use the power of imagination, and of course, the Disney villains are pretty much self-explanatory. Scar has a bunch of hyenas at his command and isn't afraid to get dirty. Ursula, of course, has magic and six deadly tentacles, eight if you want to be the remake. Which I can see Ursula's inclusion as like, hey, we're gonna be including her because of the remake. Maleficent, of course, is the mistress of all evil, so not including her would be a crime. Of course, I could see her big final attack being dragon based or her turning into a dragon. So these are the 9 Disney characters that I chose, at least from the House of Mouse. Now from Pixar, we have Sully, Mr. Incredible, Wally, Merida, Eve, Mrs. Incredible, Syndrome, Hopper, and Randall. Sully, of course, is a monster, so he could roar real loud and, of course, do claw swipes and also swing his tail that is ever so thick. Mr. Incredible, of course, could be the up close and personal brawler and and could sort of work like Donkey Kong in the main in Smash Bros, but I wouldn't jinx it. Wally could be a friendly attacker attacking people by accident, and his up B would totally be the fire hydrant. Merida, of course, is the archer, and also could wield a sword as well. Eve, of course, has futuristic technology, and of course, as we see, is not afraid to get dirty and also brutal. Elastigirl could also be the long range arms alike because, well, she's probably going to be like Min Min in that you could just throw punches from a long distance, but also kicks as well. Of course, for the villains, I chose Syndrome, Hopper, and Randall. Syndrome, of course, because, well, he's the piece de resistance and also has a bunch of technology at his disposal. Hopper, because he's a little grasshopper, and sizing him up really wouldn't do anything, but he would still be a ferocity, and he can fly. Randall, of course, with his camouflaging abilities and quick, easy hits, he could get some cheap damage in and ultimately KO any opponent, but also can hide from them and be intangible. All right, next up is the Marvel category, and pretty much this was like, and and if we're not talking about Disney characters, this is a 5x4 row. So that's 20 characters. Two more than the Mouse House. Two more than than the Disney and Pixar characters. To be fair, it's for good reasoning. Of course, we'll just go by category. And who would not include the core 6 Avengers? The the first 6 that started them all. Now, the question is if they want to use their MCU or comic counterparts, that's up to them. That's pretty much the question for like all these characters. I mean, like if they want to get Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson and Jeremy Renner to reprise their roles as these classic six, which the same goes for every single one of these characters, then I could see them doing it. Of course, Iron Man, being the technological genius, could of course use the different Iron Man suits as alternate costumes, each coming with their own playstyle. Captain America, of course, is the long-range brawler, using his shield to as a boomerang, and of course, Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner, the Hulk, of course could really be the Donkey Kong like and be the grappler brawler, and honestly suits the character more. Thor, of course, could use his hammer Mjolnir and Stormbreaker to perform some devastating combos with long-range lightning attacks and also throwing the hammers with them also coming back to him. Also, he can fly. Natasha is, of course, the gonna be the Sheik alike and gonna be basically the 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 you get the idea. Of course, Hawkeye is gonna be an archer archetype, but with also having karate skills and being skilled in karate and martial arts, I should say, and also trained for wielding a sword. You can pretty much see that this character is pretty much suit for taking down any world threatening threatening big bad bosses. Next up, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, and this one is pretty much going to be the easiest one because, well, what just came out? You think they're not going to promote it. Now, I do think that they're going to use the Quantumania looks because, well, but I can see them implementing the Ant-Man and the Wasp looks of the suits, and for Scott, they could just like implement the Civil War and original Ant-Man 1 suit. And then you also have Captain Marvel, basically beams, Scarlet Witch, magical hexes, basically all that. Doctor Strange, similar. Kate Bishop, similar to Hawkeye. Wiccan, similar, basically is similar to, like, like his mother, the Scarlet Witch, but also summons thunderous attacks, like Thor. Speed is basically going to be this game's version of Sonic, everybody. But at least be thankful that he's not going to be rolling up into a ball and be constantly homing attack you. Ugh, God forbid. Cassie Lang, aka Stature, could also make an appearance. Yet again, because also A, Quantumania, but B, I would rather have her original Young Avengers comic look or an MCU look that is more in line with her Young Avengers debut look. Also, we have Shang-Chi, which of course could use the 10 rings, and also, yet again, martial artist. And for the villains, I chose Kang, Namor, Doctor Doom, and Loki. Obviously, Loki is because of the fans. Namor is because I just think that he's cool. And also, for those of you who think he's a copycat of Aquaman, get this. Namor came out before Aquaman, so Aquaman copied Namor. Obviously, Kang is because of, yet again, Quantumania. And Doctor Doom really just because of fun, because he's like, besides Thanos, the most iconic Marvel villain. And yeah, that's really it for the Marvel characters, which I can only presume are gonna be the most familiar. Like, people are gonna be the most familiar with them being in a fighting game space, because yet again you have the Marvel vs. Capcom series, and I can totally see that being a thing. And I can totally see some of these characters being DLC if Disney wants to do it. Alrighty, now time for the Star Wars. I decided to not do Lucasfilm, but I just started to do Star Wars. Okay, just Star Wars. First up, we have of course the iconic Luke Skywalker. Of course, symbolizing the main character of Star Wars. You can bet your bottom that that I would probably pick him up and main him. But of course, this is where the ever so popular sword fighter archetype. But of course, using the Force. And this one is for my sister Angelia. I'm deciding to put both Mando and Grogu together, or as fans like to call him, Baby Yoda. Basically, these two will work as a duo, but Mando will do most of the work while Baby Yoda just sits around and watches his space dad cowboy brutally murder people. And for those of you Clone Wars fans, don't worry. Ahsoka Tano, the best Star Wars girl, yeah, fight me sequel trilogy. Rey is basically just a one-note character. Well, now look at Ahsoka Tano. She's a multi-level character, and they explored her in a TV show. So yeah, Ahsoka, of course, is the Padawan of Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. And yeah, I could see her being well. I could see her taking some of the qualities from Clone Wars, the live action adaptation of her, and also her Star Wars Rebels appearance. And why? And of course, for villains, I mean, like, come on, it was a no brainer from the beginning that I was like, who does not include Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine in this? The third one was pretty tough, but I ended up going with General Grievous because 4 lightsabers. I mean, like, she wields 2. He wields 1. He wields 1 that's red. He wields 4, which I which I like. Which I like. And the other stuff. This is really just like combination of 20th Fox Century, other stuff that I forgot to mention. So, yeah, this is where Indiana Jones is. And right below him is the ever so popular Captain Jack Sparrow. Now, of course, the question is if Johnny Depp wants to return to the role of Jack Sparrow for this game. I don't know. Then we also have the Disney Channel reps. You can probably guess who these two are, but I'm not really going to say it. And then obviously, this is where the Fox reps start to come in. Homer Simpson and Bart Simpson. Yes, this is for you, Gannon. I know that you're gonna be mad at me for this. Well, you were gonna be mad if I didn't include these two. So here are your Simpsons reps, and at least I can tolerate the Simpsons. Family Guy, no. And for to hammer home the 20th Fox Century reps, Jake Sully from Avatar, and for the villain, well, David Jones. And now we come to the third parties. Who could the third parties be? Well, this is if Disney wants to play risky. And these are the characters that I just randomly thought out of my head. Irony, right? Yeah, if Nintendo wants to play with nice with Disney, they can include their mustachioed hero in this game, and Mario would be now a traitor to the Nintendo legacy. Bugs Bunny is obviously another one, but he's already in multiverses, and but I could see them. I could see Warner Brothers remembering. Oh yeah, we made Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny speak in a scene together for a minute. So how about we do that again? Sora, I did hint to at the beginning, but I really don't think he's a third party. I mean, like, but you could think of that, but honestly, with Kingdom Hearts, Goofy and Donald, Sora's a foregone conclusion. Like, I would have included him in here if freaking Google Slides would like include like like a one little square right there at the bottom. But no, they couldn't. So really, Sora is just like a whole like put him right there. Just imagine him right there somewhere. Okay, 11. Yet again, this is another case of multiverses irony. In the code for multiverses, there were references to 11 from the ever so popular Stranger Things. That now, of course, Netflix is not willing to play with their IPs. Now, if this does occur, then the question is, does Millie Bobby Brown return as the iconic character? To which I say yes. Godzilla. Can I just please have Godzilla in a fighting game again? Oh, wait a minute. I already do. He's in Gigabash. But seriously, I just want to see Godzilla in a fighting game. This is if Toho and Legendary want to play nice with Disney. And fun fact, Disney was supposed to originally make a Godzilla attraction in the Japan pavilion at Epcot. And then we have Rexy from Jurassic World. Really, this was just like a brain dead because I just wanted to be done with this video, and really, it's been messing with my brain. Okay, but who doesn't want a dinosaur in a fighting game? Well, sure I do. Really, the story is a mystery, but it could be up against this supposed flame face guy that we mentioned here. But other than that, I don't really know. Maybe tying into the Kingdom Hearts lore and something. I don't know. This seems more like a Kingdom Hearts spin-off, and possibly maybe a way to get other Disney characters that weren't in Kingdom Hearts into the Kingdom Hearts universe, and basically, therefore, it's complicated, okay? But honestly, there were so many other characters that I wanted to include, like Aladdin, Elsa, and heck, even some from the Disney parks, like Mara, the Pooped Pirate, HBox Ghost, Madame Leota, all of those. But really, the story is a mystery, guys. I don't know what it will be, but possibly it will go along the lines of Disney characters being kidnapped, and of Disney characters being kidnapped. Mickey forms an elite alliance of Disney heroes and villains, and they have to take down this flame face guy, which I could not help but think of Ghost Rider whenever I see him. Why do I keep okay? Anyways, but if Flameface is from a Disney property, please comment down below. Which, speaking of commenting, time for an outro. Oh boy, this is gonna be easy. Hope you enjoyed this video, and really, please, really hope you did. If you and if you and if you did, why don't you like and subscribe? It really helps the channel, and lets YouTube know I exist, and also is really nice. It would really make my day. And also, why don't you share this video with your friends, your family? I mean, like, if it gets out there, then I'm known more. And don't worry, that Indiana Jones video is gonna come out soon. I just don't know when. I'm currently on the outro for it. Other videos, shorts, you get the idea. I mean, like, like, meh. But anyways, it's time to say this one last time, but everything I say here is take it with a grain of salt. It it could be real, it could be not. It, if if it is real, just call this a fat coincidence, fat chance. Like please do not by any means believe all of this as 100% fact. This this is possibly either fiction or just something else entirely. But anyways, for now, long live the Skrills. See you in the next one. Bye.